Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, guys.
Whew, boy, oh boy.
This is a run job.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we've done a live stream. So, yeah, there we are. Okay. Making sure we're on there. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Geeking Poetic Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Larry Roberts. This Randy Romulan over here next to me is none other than
Megan Guess.
And we are here to talk about what today?
Picard Season 3.
Yeah, we've been waiting a while for this, man. We love us some Picard. We love us some Star Trek. Yeah, for those that don't know, if you didn't happen to watch or listen to us back in the day when we did this, we did recap things of season 1 and 2.
Yep.
I think for season 1, you and I and Vito, our old co-host, we actually watched it in real time.
We did. Yes, we sure did.
Yeah, that was here. Talk in your mic a little bit. I can hardly hear you.
Hi, how's it going?
There
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now. Good. All right. So, yeah, we did that. That had some problems because we Paramount kept hitting us with all sorts of strikes
Blockers.
Because, God forbid, we showed even 3 seconds of any of their footage. So we won't be doing that this time. When we did the second season, I think we just did a season recap kind of thing or something like that.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So this time, because we're doing the live stream thing now, we have decided that we're going to do this hopefully every Thursday.
Episode by episode.
Yeah, exactly. The new episode comes out early Thursday morning, and then by Thursday evening, you're going to see our
mugs.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. See our goofy mugs here talking about Picard. So it's exciting stuff going on with Picard this time around.
It's very exciting.
Because, I mean, gosh, it's a little bit different than what we had with the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, every season so far has been way different than the other one.
Yeah, it definitely has. And I'll get into it more as we talk about the episode, but just going by the first episode, there's definitely things I like better that I'm seeing here in the new episode, but there's a few things that I'm kind of a little critical of. But again, I won't get too far ahead of myself and everything with this.
Yeah, I have a few criticisms myself.
Do you? Okay.
A couple.
Yeah, we haven't had any chance.
We literally watched it and ran downstairs.
Right. The cool thing about this is that doing it this way, we don't really have time to prepare for it. I mean, I'll pull up some, photos and things for you guys to look at when it's pertinent to what we're talking about. But other than that, this is raw. We're going in raw.
We don't even know what each other thinks yet.
No, really don't. So this is going to be interesting. Gosh, where do we even start? I mean,
what was your overall take?
My overall...
Are you liking it? Are you not liking it? Are you excited to see where it goes?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
My overall take is that I'm liking it. It's really Star Trek-y. I mean, I felt... as we know, and you should go back and watch our reviews of season 1 and 2 just because we said so. But anybody that knows us knows that we were pretty big fans, now without our criticism, but overall we were pretty big fans of season 1 and 2. I thought season 1 was good. I thought season 2 was better. Right?
Yes, I enjoyed the ride, even though they were slow, but I don't know about the endings.
Yeah, the endings of both of them were...
seemed rushed.
Sketchy. And yeah, exactly. So I'm really hoping that's not going to be the case this time around. We will see. But I will say that as much as I enjoyed those other 2 seasons, this one definitely right off the bat, it feels like Star Trek. Like the other seasons, I can't necessarily say that. There were moments, there were points where it was like, oh man, that's so Star Trek. Like that's classic. Like and it's not just about having old characters. Old characters that we're familiar with, that we love are great. That's cool. But it's not just about that. There's just an overall vibe, the way it looks, the fact that it's out in space on a ship, it just, everything, the way it was paced and all that stuff, it felt more like a next gen kind of episode.
I can go with that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So overall, I'm really loving that aspect of it. I love that it's so Trekky. It feels familiar while still feeling new. Yeah, that's my general assessment of this. What about you?
I am very excited to see where this goes. I've heard very good things about this season, and I really hope it lives up to it. But I am kind of worried that we're going to get a rush job at the end of it again.
Okay.
Based on what I've heard.
Oh, really? Well, see, I don't know what you've heard exactly.
The main thing I've heard is that, the people have seen 6 episodes, and there's 10. And they're like, there's still a ton of ground to cover. We love the pace that's going on right now. It's not super slow or anything like that, like the other ones were. Like a whole lot of build up. Like, okay, come on, get to where we're going here. It has nothing like that. But after episode 6, we only have 4 more episodes, and they said there's so much more we got to get into.
Okay.
So I was like, I really hope they don't rush this again. But I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Yeah. Yeah, me as well. That's I didn't know that, and that's concerning.
yeah, it's one of my main concerns.
Yeah.
But I should, before we get any further into this,
okay,
there will likely be spoilers at some point during this. So if you don't want spoilers, check out now. Come back after you watch the episode.
Yeah, exactly.
And then let us know what you think.
Exactly.
So, okay, you may continue.
So now you've been warned.
You've been warned.
So, cut yourself off if you don't want to know. So. People like Angie, if you're watching this, you don't watch this yet.
You still have to catch up.
You still got to catch up. So
beat it until you watch the rest of it and then come back.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, getting into, we said we'd recap a little bit. So basically what happens, I'll try to do it as quickly as possible. This episode starts out with the reintroduction of an old beloved character, Beverly Crusher. But she's not doing her normal.
Were you crushing her?
Boy, oh boy.
She's still hot.
Yeah, she's a beautiful woman. Yeah, she's aged well, and she's great. She's awesome. Yeah, she's a favorite. Vito, I'm sure, would be crushing on her if he's watching it right now. But it starts out with Beverly not doing her normal kind of passive, peaceful doctorly thing. She's in the middle of some shit. Forgive my language. Yeah, she's being pursued by some attackers.
We're not on Star Trek. We can cuss.
Oh, that's right.
It's okay.
Right, that's right.
Them, not so much.
Yeah, on Picard, I forget they actually cuss now, which is really weird.
Yeah,
but. Anyway, so Beverly's being pursued by some attackers. We don't know who they are. We don't know why. All we know is that she ends up getting injured, and in her desperate moments, she sends a coded message out into space to be intercepted or received by her old captain and her old flame of sorts.
Lover.
Yeah, her flame of sorts, Jean-Luc Picard. Now, she and Jean-Luc have not talked to each other reportedly in over 20 years. We come to find out that Beverly has not talked to any of the old crew.
She cut everybody off.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
It is very odd, and we don't know why that is yet. Of course, Jean-Luc is under the impression that has to do with the fact that
they had a big fight.
They had a fight. They had a fling. If you watched the 7 seasons and the 4 movies of Next Gen, you know that there was always that kind of...
Will they, won't they?
Right.
And then they did.
And then
it ended badly.
Yeah.
So the best thing you do is just cut them off. That's the easiest way to get over somebody, right?
Well... Supposedly. I mean,
was there something more?
I think there was something more, personally. Yeah. They haven't revealed that yet, although we do get to something at the very end of the episode that it's like, uh-oh.
Oh, what's this?
So, meanwhile, Jean-Luc, he's back at his vineyard with Maris. Is that her name? Laris, sorry. You'd think I'd remember Larry and Laris, right? He's back with Laris, his Romulan lover. And they're talking about going on a vacation. They're sort of closing up shop there and packing things away at the chateau. Picard is talking about how he's ready to let go of old stuff. He wants new adventures in his life. All this kind of stuff. Laris is not so sure, and rightfully so, because she's very perceptive. What?
Yeah, I thought that was odd, because wasn't the whole past 2 seasons all her? you're so stuck in your past. You got to get past it. And then she's like, the past is okay. You need the past. She's like, what, bitch? You're the one that was like, you need to get over it before we can do anything.
Well, I mean,
or
that's
whatever.
Very typically female of her to be like.
All right, that's true. All right, continue.
Well, I know.
I can't fight that.
I'm joking around. In all seriousness, I think that it means different things. I think what she was talking about in the past, especially when you look at what was going on with him in season 2, he was hanging on to a lot of negative stuff. He was hanging on to things that were causing him a lot of unrest and not being able to like move forward. Now I think it's a little different. I think that she's worried that, I also think she was just kind of worried that he's sort of bullshitting himself is more to the point. Oh yeah. Well,
as always.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was kind of more of her point, was just being like, you know, you don't have to put up this whole front, whether it's to me or to yourself, that you are, you know, putting everything behind you because I know you better than that.
Yeah.
So, that's where all that is at. And then all of a sudden, in the midst of that, he comes to find his old communicator and realizes he's getting this coded message. He figures out that it's got to be something important, because who would be sending him a message on his old communicator from 20 plus years ago? Sees the message. He and Laris both come to the realization that he's going to have to do something about this. But Beverly was pretty explicit in her brief distress call that, like, do not trust anybody. Don't get Starfleet involved. That obviously gets tricky. So he reaches out to the only person he knows to reach out to that he can trust. Who else can he trust but his number one?
Oh, yeah.
Will Riker. So right there, we've got like a winning combo. Now, we've seen Riker in the other seasons and stuff like that, you know, a little bit and everything, and it made for some good comedic moments.
Never too much Riker.
No, but especially in the way they're doing this, because this feels like the old buddy team, you know, kind of happening again. And
yeah. And again, from what I'm hearing,
yeah,
Riker is really going to shine in this season.
Oh,
he's got a great storyline coming up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see what this is.
Wow.
Okay, continue.
Okay. Yeah, see, you know so much more. This is really unusual, because
Right?
anybody that knows me knows that I'm the spoiler. Like,
Yeah.
I go and read up as much as I possibly can. I don't like surprises. And Meg's like, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Now this time, man, Miss
I was so
Impatient.
excited. I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
I need to know.
Apparently, because you just know all sorts of stuff, and I'm in the dark over here.
I got the 6 episodes and you didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't share.
You what?
I'm totally kidding.
You watched 6 episodes?
No.
Holy cow. Wow.
That'd be sweet if I got them, though. That'd be pretty mean if I didn't share them.
Yeah, that would be pretty mean. Anyway, so he goes to Riker, and he realized that they are going to have to go out there and rescue her or whatever, figure out what's going on with her. They come to figure out and determine that she's like outside of Federation space in some weird
Doctors Without Borders kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And
What's she up to out there?
who knows? But so they decide they're going to do that, but without being able to involve Starfleet, they have to essentially go hijack a ship. So there's a lot of, first of all, there's a lot of callback. There's this whole episode. I feel like in so many ways, this episode was massive fan service without feeling
Like shoving it down our throats.
yeah, without feeling overly gratuitous. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, just the whole thing where Picard is now an admiral. He's going to go on this other ship and he's going to do, you know, an inspection, quote unquote, and everything. And then next thing you know, he's out there on his own mission, kind of commandeering the ship, you know, taking it over. I mean, it doesn't work out exactly like that. Not yet. They don't commandeer the whole ship exactly. They end up just stealing a shuttle.
Yeah.
Stealing a shuttlecraft and everything. But it's very Star Trek 2, Wrath
Yeah.
of Khan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of Star Trek 2 there. Even the scene when they're shuttling towards the ship and everything, that reminds me of the infamously, thankfully this was only like a minute long compared to the 40-minute scene. You know what I'm talking about? From Star Trek the Motion
Going
Picture.
in to see the new retrofitted Enterprise.
Yeah. You remember that whole thing from the motion picture. It was it the way they shot it, it mirrors that, but done tastefully and brief and stuff. There's all sorts of like little Easter eggs and stuff. At one point, Picard is holding the whistle flute thing that he plays that's become like a famous meme gif now and everything. There's a lot of really cool stuff like that. Even mentioning certain planets, Rigel 7 and stuff like that. I mean, that goes all the way back to the Cage. You know, with what's his nuts, with Pike and everything on being on Rigel 7. There's so much Saurian wine or ale or brandy. Yes, Saurian brandy. Like there's all sorts of really cool little nuggets, but not stuff that I think takes away from the important stuff.
No, I think
in
it's
the story.
tastefully done.
So anyway, they end up getting on this ship, and it ends up being Will's old ship, right?
The Titan.
The Titan, yes. It has a new captain.
Fuck that dude.
Oh my God, that guy.
We'll talk more about him later.
Yeah, he's
Captain Shaw.
Yeah, Shaw. He's a piece of work. But anyway, they've got a new captain. But more importantly, they have the first
officer, first commander.
Yeah, the commander on that ship is none other than 7 of 9.
Annika.
Yeah, well, you know, this asshole captain of hers makes her go by her human name and everything because, you know, he's got this grudge against her for being Borg and all this stuff because he's a dickhead. But
he's got a grudge against everybody.
Oh,
he's the worst.
He just sucks.
He
man.
might. I don't know. Was he going to be worse than What's Her Nuts from the past 2 episodes?
Oh, God.
New Borg Queen?
Oh, Girardi?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Girardi, yeah, I don't know. She's
the worst.
No, she wasn't.
She's the worst.
She wasn't. She wasn't that bad. You still hate her?
I still hate her. Anyway.
She redeemed herself. She literally gave up everything to save everybody, okay? This
wouldn't be there
guy,
in the first place.
Yeah, I guess so. But this guy, I don't know. Anyway, so they get on this ship. They're tentatively welcomed by 7, who's happy to see Picard. Shaw is not happy to see them at all. He does not hold them in high regard. He's this fucking stick in the mud.
A lot of backhanded comments.
Oh, barely backhanded. It was pretty much like right in their face, just blatantly disrespecting them and everything. And, you know, but then meanwhile, he's this guy that expects respect, you know, because I'm the captain. Fuck you, you ass. You know, so I know you were telling me when we were coming down here, you were saying, oh, you know, because I was ranting about how much I hated this character. And she was saying to me
that I hear that he is going to basically redeem himself. We are going to love to hate him. Yeah. Now, whether that means like he's like Khan, where he's just going to get out for revenge, but we love him anyway because he's Khan. He's amazing. He's awesome.
Right.
He's a badass. Or is it going to be kind of more like Q, where he was so annoying in the beginning, but he comes around and he becomes a good friend and ally that they could use in an odd, strange way.
I guess it depends on who you talk to because there's a lot of people that still really hate Q. Q was not a likable person by any stretch. So I don't know. I don't know. But as of right now, I can't stand the guy.
Yeah. And I know you were mentioning you're pissed because you thought Riker and Picard should have put him in his place.
Yeah.
Right then and there.
Right.
And they would have if they were on official business for what they said they're there for.
Oh.
They would have done that. But they needed him to be on their side, so they need to keep their trap shut. To try to get that shit.
Okay, that's a fair point. I hadn't really thought about that. I guess that makes sense now. Yeah. But
sit there and take their licks so they can get what they need in the end of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that guy. I kind of hope he winds up just being blasted off the ship into the vacuum of the cold vacuum of space. You know what I mean?
You are not alone. He was awful.
So anyway, meanwhile, while they're dealing with that, and I haven't been bringing up any pictures here and everything, but I do want to get into some photographs here. Meanwhile, while they're dealing with that, you have. There we go. You have Riker and 7 of 9 meeting each other for the first time, which is kind of interesting. That's another crossover of worlds. I forgot
they've never seen each other.
That they've never met. Yeah,
Crazy.
you know, we got used to Picard and 7 of 9 being there with each other from the last season and everything. But meanwhile, 7 of 9, not only is she frustrated because she's having to deal with this captain day in and day out who totally disrespects her, but she knows better. She knows that there's something.
Oh, yeah. She's onto them.
She's like, why on earth would Picard be here with Riker doing some bullshit inspection thing? She knows that something else is up there. So, yeah. So, meanwhile, while all of that is going on, we get to catch up a little bit with in my opinion, a much beloved character from the past seasons, and that is Raffi.
Yes, I was very excited to see Raffi again. I didn't think any of the old guys were coming back, but just Raffi, it seems.
Well, you know, I'm really happy that she's back because that is, I guess I'll just get into it now. The one of my criticisms of this is, while I understand that the opinions of the crowd out there was split on how much they liked or approved or didn't of season 1 and 2 of Picard. One of the things that I really liked about those seasons was I really liked a lot of the new characters. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of bummed that the only return character that, from what I understand, unless maybe they do pop up at some point, the only return character is Raffi.
Spoiler, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a bummer, man, because, I mean, some of them I get why they're, obviously, as we know, Jurati can't be there because she's a Borg now.
And the Romulan kid, he's dead.
Yeah, well, was he dead or they didn't bring him? I thought they brought him back.
No, I think he's dead.
He's actually dead, huh?
Yeah, he's dead.
All right. Well, because then, so there's that, and then what's his nuts ended up staying back in the past and everything to start a new life. Yeah, Rios stayed in the past. Yeah, all right. I guess so. I guess that doesn't really leave a lot of people, but I don't know.
They're all doing their own thing now.
Yeah, I suppose. I just still kind of hoped, you know, that there'd be more. Even Jurati as the Borg, you know, even her factoring in somehow again. I wouldn't be against that as long as it wasn't like the main crux of the story or something that. But anyway, so that's kind of like my one letdown is that I was personally really invested in those stories and those characters. I really wasn't ready for them to be gone, as cool as it is to see Next Gen coming back, because in all essence, this is Next Generation is what we're seeing here.
First episode said so.
Yeah, exactly. The first episode did just call
literally
itself
say the Next Generation.
Yeah, that's a good point. It did say that. So anyway, but so the main thing is we've got Raffi. We have a little bit of an alarming situation with her because by all outward appearances, it looks like she's back on drugs again.
Yeah.
Which is not good. And we see her hanging out in some skeevy drug den place. And she's bugging some drug dealer guy, some Orion drug dealer guy, trying to get him to give her information on something that she heard a rumor about because she got thrown out of Starfleet. And she knows if she gets this information, maybe they'll, you know, take her.
They're going to let her back in. She just knows it.
She just knows it and everything. And the guy gives her some information a little bit reluctantly when she pays him and she runs off. Well, thankfully, we come to find out pretty quickly that it was all an act on her part. She is not back on the drugs, although it is very tough
tempting
for her. Yeah, it's very tempting for her. But she's not back on the drugs. She's undercover for Starfleet because apparently some technology and weapons and things that they'd been developing.
Mass destruction.
Yeah, weapons of mass destruction have been stolen, and they don't know by whom. They have no idea, and they're really concerned about what's going to happen with this. We end up finding out before too long what's going to happen with this, because as she's trying to figure out where
the red lady is.
Yeah, the red lady.
What is the red lady?
She got this clue, and it turns out that the red lady is a statue of
Garrett. Was it Garrett?
Was it Rachel Garrett?
Barrett.
Barrett, yeah. From Next Gen. That was a Next Gen episode. She died, and she was a hero, and so they're going to erect this statue of her over by this Starfleet Academy. And so she races to go get there to try and warn them that, hey, I think you might be targeted by some terrorists, with
big ass weapons.
With these weapons. And she gets there just in time to be too late, essentially, because she sees that the place gets sucked into some kind of weird, hole,
portal.
like a black hole portal. It gets sucked in, collapses, and then drops back out again from another hole. Very Rick and Morty of them to do that, actually. It was a total Rick and Morty moment, but much more terrifying. It was awful.
Yeah.
It was an awful,
yeah,
sad
you
scene.
can hear all the screams. That was awful.
Yeah, it was
very sad.
So it sets us up to know that whatever we're dealing with that is quite serious, and there's going to be some serious misery ahead on this show. Now, I don't know, maybe you do, how that is supposed to tie into what's going on with Beverly out at the edge of space.
I do not have any leads on that yet.
No. Okay. Well, apparently neither does Picard and Riker. They end up, through the help of 7 of 9, they end up actually kind of temporarily commandeering the ship away from that asshole Captain Shaw, and get dropped off, so to speak. They used Captain Shaw's ship as like an Uber ride, and get dropped off at the point of where they can get as close as possible to where Beverly was. They locate Beverly's ship. They get on there. They find that she's in critical condition, but she's in like a
stasis.
Yeah, stasis pod. That's basically like what's keeping.
Like Khan.
Yeah, that's basically what's keeping her alive. Then they find out that they're not alone.
They are not alone. There's somebody else on this ship.
There's somebody else. Some young guy with an accent takes Ricard takes Riker hostage, and because he doesn't know who they are and everything. Jean-Luc does some quick talking, explains that he's there to help and everything, and kind of figures out that this person is not an enemy. This person's obviously an ally of...
Who cares for Crusher?
Yeah, who cares for Crusher? Guy puts his gun down just for good measure. Will Riker gives him an elbow to the face, which is classic
awesome.
Riker.
Yeah.
To do that. And when they question him about who he is, we get left with the cliffhanger that he says, I'm Beverly's son. Now, this is not Wesley.
It is not Wesley. Shut up, Crusher.
Yeah, shut up, Wesley. So it is not Wesley. This is some other guy. And
about 20-something-year-old.
Yeah.
Roughly,
he looks like he's about the age that would line up probably with around the last time that Jean-Luc and Beverly had
lined up.
The last time that Jean-Luc and Beverly lined up. Yeah, exactly. So are we being set up for this is going to turn out to be Picard's son? Because once again, this is very Wrath of Khan of them, if so, because it's just like Kirk showing up and meeting David Marcus for the first time, not knowing that for 20 some odd years or whatever, his son has been out there.
Yep.
That's a real thing here. Is if that's what it proves to be, it's like, what are they trying to say about the Trek women? Is that they're extremely headstrong and independent, and they got no problem, cutting the dad out for a couple of decades. It's like
one of the doing by research. The guy was like, "Oh, the cursing is so much. This is a family show. This is family show." Like, no, it's not. All these women walking around half naked, leaving their baby daddies out in the lurch. Like, this is no family show. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know that I would consider.
I don't agree with that.
I don't know that I would consider Trek. I mean, it is, I guess. I mean, it depends on. To me, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't bother me that it's. I don't know. When I was a kid, I never cared about the half naked women. Like, it never really fazed me. I guess I never thought about it. So I guess it's still a family.
We're just aliens.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, anyway. So, point is, hang on, I'm getting this. So, that's where things kind of get left, really, is with that. We don't know what's going to happen with this whole terrorist attack thing. We just kind of get left with the implosion, explosion, whatever you want to call it, sucked into the vortex kind of thing with the Starfleet Academy. We get left with this whole I'm her son thing. And the last scene I guess I should bring up is as Picard and Riker are kind of trying to process what's this mean with the son thing. The enemy pursuants that have been supposedly pursuing Beverly and her son show up outside their ship, and it's a big old scary looking
spider ship.
Yeah.
Ugh, I don't like it.
Yeah. So that's
I don't like it at all.
Yeah. It looks very spider crabby in a way. It looks ominous, Very. So anyway, that's where we're left. I mean, there was a fair balance of, I guess there wasn't a ton of action, but there was just enough action to kind of let you know that, like, okay, they mean business. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's a lot of stupid people out there that are going to say it's too slow and all this stuff because they just have.
I thought it went by very fast.
I thought it was
very well paced.
I thought comparatively that this episode went by much faster than any of the previous Picard episodes from 1 or 2. So for people that complain, because there was a lot of complaints that they thought that Picard 1 and 2 was too slow and all this, which I don't agree with. Sometimes it was a little slow, but this did not feel like that at all. This felt like it was an hour long and it felt like a half an hour. Like I couldn't believe it was over.
Yeah, I was like, what? No, wait, there's got to be more. This hasn't been 50 minutes. Are you crazy?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's a good thing for those out there. If any of you are watching this and or listening to this and haven't started watching the show yet, take notice of the fact that this moves a lot quicker than the other ones did. I think it looks great. I don't know what it is about this season, but something about the overall look of it. The colors, and I know you had one complaint about that we'll get into in a second, but I thought that...
I have a couple.
I thought that overall, I really liked the look of it. I like the maybe I'm just enamored with getting to see ships again, like the Titan and the space station and all that. And maybe it was just because season 2, as much as I did generally like season 2, it was all so earthbound and set in our time. And so it didn't have that feel. Not that Trek in the old days didn't do that, didn't go back in time, but for some reason that it took me out of it a little bit. There was a lot of times where I was watching season 2 and I didn't feel like I was watching Star Trek.
Agreed.
It didn't mean I didn't like it, but it didn't feel like Star Trek to me. It felt like a modern show that happened to have some Star Trek characters in it and stuff. So I really like the look of it. You said you had a couple of complaints. What are your complaints?
One is it is so dark. Why does it have to be so incredibly dark? Like when Rafi was like looking down at her hands, like I don't even know what she's looking at. I can't even see it.
That scene, I don't.
And particularly that scene.
I didn't feel like the rest of it was all that dark. I feel like it was dark in the times when it needed to be dark. On Beverly's ship is kind of dark, but they're under attack. Things are breaking down, shutting down. I get it. All the Raffi stuff when she was in that bar, in that club and everything, it was really dark. I mean, I felt like that was just realistic to the setting, because it would be dark in there. It's a drug den,
It felt all dark to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why that would be. When I was looking up like the photos and stuff, and I was trying to find, I mean, that picture I had up earlier of Rafi talking to the drug dealer, that was like the only good picture I could find because everything was so dark.
Yeah, when he's talking in Laris and stuff like that, it was dark. I mean, I get it's at night, but why does it have to be so dark? It wasn't that dark on Next Gen.
Well,
you know what I mean? I mean, I guess that's the cinematic way it is now, but
yeah.
Why?
Because
see, that's so dark.
But it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like early evening, and it's, late afternoon, early evening, and they're in the chateau. I like that. I thought that it's dark, but I thought that the overall look of it was so cinematic. Whereas, man, I'm sorry. I know you love it, but I go back and I watch Next Gen episodes, and they look so corny. They look so goofy and dated because everything is that bright, UPN channel looking kind of filming quality and stuff. And
in 20 years, that's what this is going to look like.
Yeah, probably.
Or 40 years.
In 20 or 40 years, I'm not even going to be able to see anymore. If I'm even around.
If we're alive.
Yeah, I'm not even going to be able to see. So I ain't worried about what it's going to be like in the future.
But my other issue was really, I noticed it in the very, very, very first scene when we saw Crusher's ship.
Yeah.
And it had that nebulous thing behind her, that orange thing.
Okay.
And like the background, all that looked amazing.
Right.
Amazing. And then her ship just kind of looked like it's two different styles that they use to animate these things.
Yeah.
And her ship looks more cartoonish to me than to match the background that it was. And it looked literally like old original Star Trek, where it's obviously a model on the thing. I don't know. They just seemed out of place in two different kinds of drawings or animations, whatever. And there's a couple times the ships just look weird. They don't look right.
Really?
Like in the up close parts of it looks great. But when they're far away, they just don't look right to me.
That's funny because I didn't get that at all. Like
really?
that wasn't like a thing to me at all. So
as soon as I was like, oh, that's odd. And it looked like you could see the string holding it down. There's just kind of hovering there.
Really? Because I mean, like looking at the Titan. I
can't see it. It's too dark.
I can't
see it.
Good grief! I thought that looked beautiful. To me, that looks awesome. I think that looks great.
And again, if that's the close-up shot, I can't tell. I seriously.
Okay. Well, in any case, I think it looks good. I think you're crazy. So, but you're entitled. That's fine. That's fine. You can think.
Anybody out there with me?
Oh, I'm sure there are, because people usually disagree with me about stuff. But anyway, I don't want to run too much longer with this. We've already been running a little bit long. So anyway,
touch on everything. Did you notice Geordie's daughters in it?
Oh, that was
at the helm, the pilot.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was was
Sydney
it
LaForge? Yeah,
Sydney. Yeah,
I think that's his daughter's name.
Yeah, it's funny because wasn't that even a gag in an old episode? In fact, it might have even been in the last episode of Next Gen. Was
when he was
when he was in the vineyard?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he's talking to Geordie.
He couldn't get her name right.
He couldn't get her name. Yeah, he kept screwing up her name and stuff and everything. Yeah. Well, now she's grown up and she is she's like the Sulu, right? Of the
and then we met his daughter in one of the movies.
That's right.
Doing the same thing. It's kind of cool. Another throwback to the original series.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And again, it's kind of Star Trek Wrath of Khan as well, because in that one, on the inspection trip, Kirk ends up meeting Scotty's nephew.
Uh-huh.
You know, because the one that died and everything. Yeah, because he held his post when the trainees ran. I remember that. I've seen Star Trek 2 so many times. So many times I could quote that whole movie. But anyway, so yeah, overall, I think this is great. This is a really good start.
Yes.
A lot of questions, a lot of uncertainties. A lot of hope on my part that Captain Shaw is going to get ejected into the cold vacuum of space, because boy, oh boy, I hate that guy. But yeah, here, just look at his face. Look at him. Look at that jerk. I can't stand that guy, man. So I don't know.
There's Sydney.
Yeah, Sydney was there, and then and then him. Yeah, exactly. Now you see him. Yeah, it's anyway. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. But yeah, thanks for checking this out. If you were watching this live with us right now, or if you watch this retroactively, I'm sure a lot of people are, because the episode is so new and people don't want the spoilers if you watch this in a few days or whenever. Feel free to leave a comment down below. We also have a group on Facebook called the Geeking Squad group. You look it up and the links are in the description. It's free and open for anybody to join.
Don't be a Shaw. Yeah,
don't be a Captain Shaw. You know, be a Sydney, not a Shaw. Okay, like that would be so much cooler. So we welcome you all there. Let us know your comments on the show. Let us know any of your theories about where you think this show is going to go, or even if you've heard some spoilers or rumors or whatever. Feel free.
Open.
Yeah, feel free to share them with us, especially this one. Who knew? Suddenly we've done Freaky
Swapped,
Friday here.
right?
Yeah. You know, she's the one that's got all the, it's like, tell me what you know. and I'm just like
beating people up on the street.
Yeah. And I'm just sitting here like, I'm just along for the ride, But yeah, that's about it, everybody. We will be back with
next week at this time.
Yeah. Yeah, we will be back next week for sure. Whether or not it's going to just be the two of us, we are not certain, actually, because
Let's see if we get Maddie in here.
Matt is into this. He is into the show, unfortunately, because
today was no good.
Yeah, today wasn't, the tomatoes were no good. You got me the tomatoes are no good. No, he had other stuff that he had to do today and everything, but he may chime in with some comments after the fact. Hopefully we'll get him on next week. If he's not live with us, maybe he'll be in the chat, or maybe he'll just maybe he'll film something separately. I don't know, but I know Matt wants to be involved in this, so he will be here. And with that, I think
that's it.
I think, yeah, as they say in Goodfellas, and that's that.
Till next week.
Till next week. Live long and prosper, everybody.
Hold on, can I do it? You did it.
Oh, see, look at this. She can even do that now.
Can I do it two-handed? Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
I think you've been replaced.
Yeah, I'm
I think you're some sort of shapeshifter or something.
I might be.
I don't trust it, folks. I'm getting out of here. Bye.